I was thinking about this today. Like how serious do I actually think the January was it 6th when that happened?
Yeah,
6th.
How much I really just don't think it was a big deal.
It's
that one woman
such a
did
big
get
deal
shot.
to me. Ashley
I know.
Babbitt.
It doesn't seem like
I
all
know
the
that one
videos
woman
come
got
out
shot,
now.
but it seems like you had like maybe 30 troublemakers, mixed into a big crowd, and then they all got invited into the building. I would have went in the building.
I don't think they all got invited, and we did see them smash
for
the
sure.
window.
I saw
well,
smashing
it's
windows.
really confusing. Like, it's still confusing because it's like a lot of people were just there because they're like, yeah, I like Trump, and then a bunch of guys were like, hey, let's go to the Capitol building.
Let's get Pelosi.
The government has been claiming, they're like, well, the guys who said let's go to the Capitol building, or a lot of them were like Proud Boys guys who ahead of time were like, let's usher everybody towards the Capitol building because maybe something will happen. But there's like no like real documents of like what they wanted to happen, and like anything of like, yeah, they wanted to kill all these like politicians or something. It's like, well, there's no real evidence of that.
Yeah.
It kind of sounds like they wanted to be assholes.
They were being pissy because they lost.
They were trying to stop the vote from being ratified, right? That Pence was supposed to do his thing where he made Biden officially the president.
Well, cause a disruption, yeah.
Well, not just cause a disruption. They were trying to prevent that from happening.
And were they? Like trying
with what mechanism though? By just like going into the building,
taking over the building and getting everyone out of there, and work for a few hours.
Yeah, but they got into the building, but then once they got in there, they're just like, all right, now let's.
They started looking for papers and proof of conspiracies and shit like that.
Is that where they normally ratify it? Like, do they normally ratify it in the Capitol building, like the vote or whatever?
I don't know. This is like a procedure that no one ever paid attention to until that year.
I'm willing to accept what you said, but I strongly feel that that's just the media narrative that they said, hey, they were doing this to stop the president, because then you can go after them for sedition, and you can go after Trump for like trying to like treasonous accounts, and just like, where are you coming up with that? I get that, like you can imagine that.
Well,
but
Trump did
look at the crowd. Look at those guys.
Trump told them to march down to the Capitol and prevent it from happening.
He also told them to be peaceful.
Well, yeah, but it's like,
and that doesn't really get talked about.
If I killed my mom and then showed you all this footage of me not killing my mom, you wouldn't be like, well, there were a lot of times he didn't kill her. And that's what they're doing. They're showing all this footage of the people who didn't shit on the walls, steal the lectern, and go in Nancy Pelosi's office and whatever. That doesn't mean it didn't happen, and it doesn't mean just like the moments that they were innocent, or they're like, oh look, no one did anything. Here's footage of them obeying velvet ropes. Therefore, no one busted the walls.
No, I don't think anyone would say no one busted.
No one died that day. No one smashed.
Well, only one person died that day.
There were no. Okay.
And it was
how many is okay?
It was an unarmed veteran protester who shot.
They told her, "Don't come in here. Like, don't. This is the room. This is our final stand. You're not."
Oh no, Ashley Babbitt deserved to die. That was
and she's like, "I'm a girl. You won't do it." Well, fuck around and find out.
Yeah,
I guess. Look,
but the idea, like, there is one, like, I get what Kyle's saying. Like, the more video footage I see of it, the more it's like, yeah, there are a lot of videos of just like fucking sunglass wearing in their Twitter avatar goobers and flags, like just kind of walking in because the cops are letting them in.
I know, and it's muddied the narrative. Like it.
That's why I didn't want those videos out there.
How is it any different from any other like protest? Like, yeah, protests get violent and stupid and they break shit. And yeah, you probably can say like, okay, we have to give you more intense charges because it was inside a government building with a bunch of like, politicians were in the building at the time or whatever else. Their safety was threatened.
Nobody cared when all those McDonald's, Burger Kings were getting burned down a couple summers.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Is I'm like,
whenever a dollar store on a corner was lit up. Like,
you'd have to give me some like
a
real
bigger deal
evidence.
than a Wendy's, though.
Not to me.
No, not at all.
You know where I'm welcome at? You know where I'm welcome at?
As a fat man, the Wendy's is far more sacred than the halls of Congress.
I'm not even allowed in the Capitol building. They'll shoot me if I go to the wrong part. I go into Wendy's, though. Mr. Dave Thomas's legacy lives on, okay? They don't cut corners there. That's why the burgers are square.
Yeah. Yeah, I definitely am like, I don't.
Would that mean that they always cut corners?
It's easier to feel bad for like a business owner's business and livelihood being destroyed than it is like seeing a government building get their windows broken and shit.
I hear you, and I definitely understand where you're coming from. It's not how I felt though. Like when the when the fucking Capitol went down to like protesters, I was like, what the fuck? I thought this area was better protected than that. I thought we could like rally serious forces if anyone attacked Washington.
Yeah, I didn't realize the
thought
Capitol
it was
Police
finally
are like
happening.
But it didn't realize that
dogs.
like fucktards with flag spears could take literally spears were like the weapons they had. And they
Spears?
took over the Capitol building. Yeah, they brought flags with pointy tips and shit like that. It's not like you could argue it wasn't even a weapon, but it
Had flagpoles.
They had flagpoles. Okay. Yeah.
flagpoles with pointy tips.
Lots
Like
of them have
They
them.
were like the Zulu, goddamn.
yeah.
They were like the Zoom.
No, but I'm trying to say like the
It just
tip,
seems like
there's-
such a stretch.
There's a metal tip on it, almost like a bow. Oh, not like a
They
bow,
formed
like
a
an
fake-
Did
arrow.
anybody get speared?
What I'm saying
think
is
they
they
beat the shit
weren't
out of one of
good
them
weapons.
cops.
I'm not saying they were like the fact that the Capitol could be taken over with primitive weapons,
Yeah.
spears, and
Yeah.
shields they took off of cops and shit like that.
Sure.
It made me feel like suddenly my government's not as big a deal as I
If
thought.
a mob of that size wanted to take over that building, they would have taken over that building.
Now
Like,
they were
did.
done- they were-
You could have
they were-
bursted through and like
No.
like they were
No.
they did
You don't
burst
think so?
through.
yeah, some of them did. It seems like most
What
of
did
them
they
just got
burst
let
through?
in.
That's like saying
Bulletproof
you invaded my house
windows. They
because you're in
knocked
the
them into the
foyer.
shield.
But
Wait, what?
okay, but the bad people, the everybody else is barricaded in the back behind real doors and guns, right? That's how the Ashley Babbitt lady. I'm surprised y'all know her name because I just
They took
give
over
her this
that
crazy.
that room, by the way, the one that she wanted to go through. They eventually took, like, they did win the
I
protest.
guess they must have. Well, then they had to retreat because you can't push a man with a gun.
Yeah,
they
that's
did.
true.
Yeah, I guess one guy with a gun felt like he couldn't take on 6,000 people pushing their way in.
Probably
I
didn't
mean,
want
I'm
to
gonna-
just open fire on a crowd
I
indiscriminately.
got
only had
18 in
16
here.
rounds
Let's go.
left.
He took
I don't
out that
fucking
one
care.
dumb bitch.
You
and
come
then he
down
said,
the-
all right,
no,
I've made my point.
Here's how I felt about it. I felt
Yeah.
like that building is full of people that don't like us, who are our enemies. All those representatives who we just talked about how corrupt and
Agreed.
awful they are and self-serving they are. There's nobody in there that's on my side. They represent corporations, foreign interests, their own pockets. That's what they represent. Not me in the slightest. I'm not even allowed to vote for some reason. Voting's not a right if you can
Good
take it away.
point.
Yeah.
So when I see that, and I see a bunch of guys with flags running in saying, "Let's get Nancy Pelosi," I'm like, hope they don't get her.
You're like, now you're being coy. Ooh, tee. Like,
That was
I hope-
such a
I hope the
shame.
guards don't rise up and join the protesters and form a new government around Emperor Trump that's better. Like I know that. I don't want that.
Well, when
I
you
don't want
talk
that.
about
That
like the
wouldn't
corrupt
happen.
people lighting their own pockets, Trump is
Sure.
his family are not innocent of that at all.
yeah,
Yeah,
he's,
but
he's definitely
he did it
in
as
the
a
mix.
private citizen, like the rest of us. Like they're fucking.
He did it
cheaters.
as the president. No, he had people stay
Okay,
in
well-
his hotels. They would rent rooms they didn't even need to line Trump's pockets.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yes, that's
sure.
true.
Like they all do fucked up shit. They are
don't
all
like that
they are
either.
all out for themselves.
You were
don't like
disgusted a
Trump.
minute ago, and now that it's Trump, you're like everybody
Yeah, when
does
Trump
it.
does
No,
it, it's
it's-
funny.
it's-
so
It's
okay.
funny. It's cool when Trump does it.
No,
it's a whole
no, I
different
don't think
thing.
anyone
I'm just
said
trying to stay in this one thing over here and not into.
January.
I'm not
6th
trying to
protester,
circle to
because all
Trump
those
and make
people
a-
are bad except Trump.
No one's saying
I'm
that.
just trying not to get distracted away from
The
key
difference
issue,
is
which
that
January
Trump
6th
likes
and
Kyle,
the people
right?
who are going
Yeah,
inside that building.
all
He's a
the
good
other
news
politicians hate Kyle, but Trump loves him.
Yeah.
It's like this: you watch an internet fight, right? You
Okay.
immediately
Right.
figure out who the good guy is, right?
Not always.
Right.
Like,
those
all
who
right,
likes
let's
you
see
the
if there's a good guy and a bad guy. Let me figure out who's wearing the white hat, who's wearing the black hat. This guy pick on that one? Did this guy
Right.
assault someone first? Was
Yeah.
he a bully? Is this guy too big to be even approaching this? Like you weigh and measure and you figure out who's the good guy and the bad guy. And when I saw that January 6th stuff going on, it was not clear cut. It wasn't clear cut. You know, it's like people in there are fucking assholes. People in there are awful. I hope and that building, all that shit in it has nothing to do with me. I don't care about your flags in your building, your old pieces of paper. I wish they burned it all down. I don't care. I don't care about that stuff. That's not my stuff. That's not our stuff. That's their stuff. They would wash the floors if we walked in there.
That CVS has insurance, man. You can just burn it to the ground. It's not mine.
Meanwhile, CVS, the doors open for me when I approach. I'm
So
like,
that does
king in a
belong to you.
CVS.
That's
You have
for you.
$50? Oh my God. Yes, sir. No, sir. They give
You
a
feel
receipt
personal
with a
ownership of the
virus.
CVS, so you don't want to see
No,
it be
sir.
harmed.
I'm just saying.
Yeah. Yeah, the more it seems, like the more videos I see, the more it's like this doesn't look like what was put to us a few years ago.
It seems to me, I think the thing that
though they're releasing these videos selectively, bit by bit. Like they're not. Oh, and they also keep releasing it to like they released it to Fox News and let Tucker Carlson tell you about the videos, and then you're like, it's because they have something to hide. Really?
But the government's
when the
not
Republicans took
communicating.
the House and gave the videos to Tucker Carlson, who has something to hide?
I mean,
release all the videos. Give it to C-SPAN.
Release all of them, but it seems like a lot of networks didn't want to release these ones.
Here's the problem. The government is not effectively communicating to me what happened and who did it and why, okay? So like that guy, Enrique Tarrio or whatever, the guy who was leading the Proud Boys, he just got 30 years. Why? Do you know?
No, I have no idea.
Woody, do you know?
I just saw it, but I don't know it well enough.
I assumed it was because.
Don't you think that the guy who got the biggest sentence out of any January 6th person, who, by the way, was not even there, shouldn't every American know?
Wait, he wasn't there?
He was not there at all. He was like dicking around in like Florida or whatever. Okay,
That's
and he's got the biggest possible sentence, and no American can tell you what he did. I mean, like the people who are more
and the orders that he gave his organization.
You would imagine, but shouldn't a thing that was the most talked about, like desecration of our government in the history of whatever, as we've been told from the media, shouldn't we?
Well, they burned the White House down in 1812.
Yeah,
I'm saying like in recent memory.
You wouldn't know that happened based on how they've talked about this.
How after we've been talking about it for 3 years, the biggest sentence comes down, and I still do not completely understand what they got him on. Like his guys were there and they had like some like very vague messages of like, yeah, take them down, or like, yeah, move our guys towards the building or whatever else. And I'm like, is telling a guy in a text message, move our guys towards the Capitol building, that gets you 30 years of seditious like conspiracy?
If they don't like you, it does apparently.
Dude, yeah.
Look, he had good legal defense, so I would imagine that he's guilty of whatever they accused him of to the letter of the law. It does seem to me that he was in charge of that large organization who were very good at covering their trail most of the time and being like, "What do you mean racism? Look at me, I'm a brown man. I don't hate the ninjas. I love them. I wish there was a ninja here right now in front of these cameras. You could watch how much I love them." Like, there's so much dog whistling with them. And then, yeah, the people that were there on January 6th, I keep forgetting when it even was, that were organized seemed to be his guys and maybe the CIA. They both wear khakis, hats, have crew cuts, have their polos on.
Keeps getting debunked though. Like I recently saw some guy with a vape in his hand. They're like, look, it's a badge. The Ray Epps thing. Ray Epps is not CIA or FBI.
I don't know what any of that stuff is.
Every time they talk about these guys, they're like, now, were there any federal agents in the crowd somewhere? Well, I hope so. I hope that they saw it going down. Everyone knew it was coming. 4 years ago, I used to argue on Facebook with all the idiots. And they're like, dude, January 6th, you wait and see. I was wrong. I thought it'd be nothing. I thought it was just like, you fucking fat pieces of shit won't do anything, but they did.
Well, I had a $100 bet with a guy that the election would be overturned and that Biden would step down and be. I was like, you think they're gonna? And he's like, yeah, I'd bet $100.
Oh, you're on the good side.
I'll take that bet. Yeah, no. I was on the side that won $100 from a crazy guy who thought they were going to hang Biden legally.
I bet $100 from a crazy guy, and then I won. But that was pre-election. Post-election, I bet hundreds more. I don't remember how many hundreds more.
It was close to $1,000. I thought it was like $900 or something.
I'm not sure. I have it in my head close to 600, but whatever it was.
Being like, dude, why didn't you let us in on this gambling act?
It was a non-trivial amount of money. I bet who would win the election months after it was over.
Yeah, exactly. That's
dude,
what
and then when it was time to pay
me,
me, I was like, all right, here's my PayPal address. He's like, no, PayPal's too Democrat. I won't do that. And I was like, all right, here's like my Venmo. He's like, no, I don't support big tech. But there was another one. What is it? Trulia?
Dude, did we bet with the same guy?
Really?
I think we did. Because I had the exact same thing where I'm like, okay, here's my PayPal. He's like, no, they'll fucking track me if I do that or some shit. And he ended up having to send me some like weird crypto, and he sent it in some stupid like Nazi fucking code number or whatever. He's like, oh, I just sent you 1488 super coins or whatever. And I'm like, I don't give a shit. Whatever.
Super coins. Dude, you didn't get your MAGA dollars?
Yeah, exactly. I was like, whatever. It makes you feel good.
Your
Fine.
Truth Social coins?
Oh, okay. Now that's
apparently this Proud Boy had planned to have a large crowd storm government buildings to prevent the election from happening. And I guess that's what they got him on.
Well, what they're saying is that basically he had a bunch of guys and that they were like, let's go cause some trouble. And one of them broke a window, and that the government's saying that the guy who broke the window was like the key to everybody else deciding. Pizzola smashed open a window, allowing the first rioters to enter the Capitol, blah, 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 blah. Okay, but like, and then they're saying the men recruited and participated in every consequential breach at the Capitol that day. But I read that, I'm like, well, yeah, but don't like Antifa guys go like, okay, so we're going to like firebomb this building and everybody will run in and smash everything and grab everything. Like, how does that get you 22 years?
I don't
So,
know.
like, let's go there and let's get
Apparently,
people.
the Proud Boys viewed themselves as Trump's army and were willing to commit violence on his behalf and commit to all-out war to keep Trump and stop Biden from taking office. The defendant's lawyers sought to depict the Proud Boys as a glorified drinking club, but I guess it didn't work.
Yeah.
Well, they started off that way, and then it quickly kind of got out of Gavin McGinnis really fucked up with the Proud Boys. He's like, oh, it'll be cool. I'll have my own little fun club. And his fun club's like, hey, can we go commit a bunch of crimes? He's like, no, stop.
No, we're supposed to be gay together.
This is just supposed to be stupid.
Yeah.
I have no issue with that guy getting in trouble because I always knew that he was too far right. Okay? Like
Gavin?
I'm more of a conservative.
I think he means Enrique.
He's more of a
Enrique.
Yeah, I don't know anything about the Enrique guy, really.
Well, you've seen them all dressed up in their uniforms in the big crowds and stuff, though. You know, like they have a look about them of authoritarianism and
are they like
power.
Nazi?
Yeah.
Well, they border on it very strongly.
They wore shirts that said 6
sympathetic.
million is not enough.
Who wore that?
Proud
These
Boys.
guys?
Yeah.
Well, some Proud Boys. See, that's
it wasn't their
right?
uniform.
Did they assign everybody to wear one? Did they have a vote and everybody picked that one? So it's, you know what I mean? Like, look, I agree, they're awful.
Did they lose? Did they put it in an online contest and it was kind of like the Hitler did nothing wrong Mountain Dew flavor? Did that happen?
Man, I wish Raging Cherry had won. That was
man, I wish Wild Cherry had won. But we have to make all these. Well, yeah, it's like Airbud style rules where they're like, "I'm sorry, head of fucking PepsiCo, but you have to make that do."
Like, so I guess here's the problem: is that like it seems pretty obvious that the Proud Boys were like, I think the way they've characterized it, there's probably enough evidence to say they wanted to break into the Capitol and get a bunch of people in there. But there's no evidence of like, and then once they were in there, they were going to do this, or this. It's more just like they wanted to cause some trouble and get in the building. It's like, okay, but you know, what if they just wanted to get in there to? Yeah, okay. I'm saying you can get them on like, listen, you guys were protesting, you took it too far, you broke some shit. Fine.
You feel like a typical. Congress was meeting to ratify the election and make Biden president.
I mean, protesters have interrupted. Protesters have interrupted.
But
like,
you think
Congress
the fact that they
proceedings.
took over the Capitol building and prevented that, well, at least delayed that procedure, was random? Like that they were just. I think
it was
they went in there.
But like, but couldn't you make the argument? It's a protest. We think that what's going on. We don't think that this. We think the election was stolen. As stupid as I think that is, you can believe that. Fine. And we're protesting what we think is a fraudulent election. And our method of protesting is to break into the building and, frankly, not hurt anybody. If they had got they did end up fighting with some cops, and those guys should be taking
hypothetical. Hey, I've got it.
Yeah.
I've got it.
Okay.
Woody,
fire up.
Yeah.
Flip the script, and Trump wins. But Biden is saying that the election has been stolen. You know, actually,
and there's actual evidence this time.
And there's evidence.
If there's evidence, the situation's different, and then it becomes more complicated.
Well, hang on, it doesn't matter.
Okay,
you're convinced. The fact that you're convinced is all that matters because they're convinced. You are convinced that Donald Trump has stolen the presidency and might even try to make this an empire thing. He's crazy. And Biden clearly won. They're making stories up, and the data's there. We have the pictures, but he controls Twitter and Facebook, and you see clear, real evidence that Twitter and Facebook's hiding the evidence, just like they hid that other evidence about your guy earlier. And you're there, and Biden's saying, "Get in there, be mad as hell. It's been stolen. Your future's being stolen. Your children's future's being stolen. The American dream, the legacy
Biden sounds cool.
200 years." And you're like, "Oh my God, Biden has so much energy today."
Yeah,
I've never seen this from Biden.
Biden's usually a little more mumbly. Can you?
You'd be like, "Kill for your country.
No, so where's the end of
Murder
it?
them."
Okay,
You set up the
You'd be
scenario.
running up the hill. With
No.
your spear.
So I wouldn't be running up the hill. I might approve of hill running though. Like I'm trying to be honest in this. Like me, I got too much to lose.
Approve a little hill running.
But all right. So Trump stole the presidency. Do I lose my house? No. All right, fuck it. I'm still here.
You're not going to fire the musket, but you'll
I'm
wave
gonna
the
feed
flag.
my fish, and nothing's gonna be different.
Yeah.
But would I feel the same way about like people trying to stop what I think is a legitimately stolen election?
Yeah.
No, I'd probably feel differently. I'd probably feel like it was
because
okay.
my argument would be that Trump supporters, all right, no. A particular group of Trump supporters are so brainwashed that if he tells them, then they believe it. They're like, he knows better than me.
Yeah.
I have not seen the data.
I did my own research.
When the president of the United States tells you, "Oh, hey, by the way, that election was fraudulent," like when you grow, I think a lot of people take the word of the president of the United States pretty seriously. It's like, well, as the president of the United States, he would know, right?
Mm-hmm.
He's not just a crazy madman who makes things up for personal gain. He would never do that.
Right? Very Trumpy.
Doing that? Trump doing that?
I think at the end of the day, though, like I look at what these guys did and I can go, look, I can understand getting them on. Yeah, you caused a disturbance. You broke some stuff. You broke into a place you weren't supposed to be. And it was a sensitive government on whatever. 22 years is an excessive sentence. It feels
I wonder what he'll serve.
Over the top.
It does seem
that's a federal sentence. He's going to be in there.
Yeah, I was going to say, I think he's going to serve the whole thing.
He's going to be. There's a formula to it. Like there's a specific formula to when he can potentially get seen next. They have a sentencing guidelines.
If let's pretend Trump doesn't get in, but that a Republican eventually does, right? In the next 22 years, there'll be a Republican for sure.
Yeah,
I think if Biden gets elected again, he should pardon all those guys as a show of good faith and just go, listen, you were all brainwashed by a psychopath weirdo named Trump, told you the election was stolen, and I can't hold you accountable for that. You were lied to by your president, and we're going to let you go.
That's interesting.
Am I not a merciful president?
I'm the most yeah. You just have to kiss the ring. And then he can sit. Biden will be sitting on a golden throne
with an owl head on it.
Zach says they need to serve 85% of it. 85% of 22. Works? That's a thing no one knows, but it seems like a lot.
17.
Yeah, I was gonna guess 17. Is that actually right?
It's
8 out of 10.
That's a 20. Then there's
16.
2. So it's like 17 and some change.
17.5.
Yeah.
Okay.
Long fucking time. I think Trump will pardon some of the January 6th people potentially.
18.7. Okay.
Which will be interesting. I hope he does it immediately and he doesn't do that bitch thing that we always talk about where you do it sliding out the door. Yeah. I would like it if he was just all the time. Anytime there was a big flare up in the news, like when something jumps off in the news media, like I'm at, a cop does something that's borderline. If he was just like, you know what, pardon him, shut him the fuck up. I'd love that. He was just throwing him out like he was King Joffrey.
Trump pardoned a sheriff from Arizona, maybe.
Joe Arpaio.
Yeah. Say it slower.
Joe Arpaio, I think.
Something.
Yeah, that's
we're definitely thinking the same guy. Yeah.
That guy was nuts.
That guy. He was like. Some argued he was excessively cruel to his prisoners. Some loved him being very rough on his prisoners.
Did you see he was in was it Bruno or like he was in one of those Ali G movies?
Oh yeah.
It was probably Borat 2.
No, I think it might have been Borat 2, but he brought him on to like unbox Shopkins. So I think he was doing the Bruno character.
Yeah.
And he was like, he's like, oh, so tell us about why every American should have a gun. Oh, look at this tiny little ice cream man. And it was like they were making it was like those unboxing toy videos for kids you see on YouTube all the time. but with Sheriff Joe Arpaio talking about why we need to lock up all these fucking people.